Hello.
Hear me?
Hello. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me, dude?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Good. Yes.
Perfect.
Good to hear from you. I'm going to just let a few more people in before we start,
Sure.
but I'm so glad we could do this.
Yeah. Thank you so much for thinking of me and for putting it together.
Oh, always, man. I got some great feedback from our podcast episode.
I did as well.
That was awesome.
I'm very, very happy to hear that.
Hello, guys. Welcome. We will open this up to questions and comments in a little bit. I just want to talk to Aki about some different aspects of his work, and then we will open up to you guys. So when we get to that, just raise your hand, and we'll let you guys can speak, of course. How is it in New York? How hot is it right now?
It's actually not bad. Can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
It's a little muted. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you. What about now? If I raise this up a little
That's
bit?
better. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, much better.
I have a tendency of, I think that's one of the critiques or criticisms that I get sometimes with my live Q&As, that I don't put the microphone on too loud, but I'm looking at the levels, and I just want to make sure I don't get too loud.
Yeah. I hear you.
But everything. I'm actually in New Jersey. I am outside. You'll probably hear some ambient sounds in the background. I just figured it's too much of a nice day to be cooped up inside in front of the computer. So.
Yeah, that's great. It's a little hot for me to do that here, but
I can imagine.
That sounds nice. I'll be sweating during this.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We got some folks in here. Might as well start.
Yeah. Okay.
So, hey guys, Melky Coach talking with the great IQ Grande, who hosts Demystifying Gay Porn. He is a porn director, producer, historian, connoisseur. Is there anything else with porn?
I think.
Do you write porn? You write porn too. You're a writer.
I've dabbled. I am a writer outside of the porn industry, but I have also done some creative projects and written for the screen when it comes to that.
Nice. Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Cool.
So. I wanted to tell you a quick story and see if you have any friends like this. But years and years ago, before I moved to LA, when I was still working at Turner Classic Movies here, my best friend, who's still my best friend to this day, he and I loved to quote vintage gay porn lines to each other, like from Big Gun, Sailor in the Wild, all those things, all those great classics. And, we would just randomly call each other, because it's before iPhone, so we would call each other just randomly and say a line, or of course when we saw each other live. And I remember at work one day, I called him and gave him a line from Sailor in the Wild, which is an all-time favorite. And right as I was doing that, one of the writers at TCM was walking by my desk and was like, "Oh my God, that's Sailor in the Wild." And it was the greatest thing. It was like that kind of recognition of the vintage retro porn. It's just pretty awesome. I just love that. I wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, I think that those days are gone.
Yeah,
I don't think they make porn like that. They don't make anything like that anymore, in my opinion.
No,
I used to think it was just because I was getting older, but quote a movie that came out in the past 10 years that you can remember off the top of your head. It's very rare, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but no, yeah,
especially older porn. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. So what was the driving force behind Demystifying Gay Porn? Like what was it that made you, start off this venture that was like, I've got to I want a podcast about this history, and I want to talk to people in the industry. What was the setting off point for that?
So there were a couple of different iterations of it to start. I remember I wanted to do, well, my background is in communications, film studies, and I've made a lot of documentary films in my real life. you don't always say that, but I've made a lot of short documentaries and documentary films, and that was always something that I enjoyed. And I think about 2018, 2019, I started kind of fooling around with the idea of not a podcast per se, but getting short documentaries on certain performers, and I had a couple of them done, and then I had a hard drive kind of get wiped out, and it was great because I got a really, really good interview with this guy who kind of just was no holds bar with a whole bunch of NDAs he got from escorting and stuff. And it got to the point where I was like, oh my God, this is going to be fire when I release it. But for good reasons, the hard drive was wiped out and it didn't exist. But that's where it started happening. And then also in 2019, I just found myself a little tired of just producing gay porn or gay erotica, and I wanted to do something a little different. I've met so many colorful characters and so many people with rich stories that do porn, and when they're in front of the camera, the only thing that people know about these people is that they have sex for money in front of the camera and they enjoy it, or they just do it because they got into this path in life, let's say. And they're being robbed of so many really, really cool things about these people. And it just, for me, I think it's not about a dick, it's not about an ass, it's not about anything. The sexiest thing that you can have is a brain, because it just makes everything else that much sexier, in my opinion. Like somebody that can, if you can talk my pants off, you're an amazing person. Okay. I don't care how big your dick is or how great your ass looks and all that fun stuff. Granted, that's important, but yeah, there were just so many of these people who are so cultured and come from different places and speak a lot of languages. And that was something that I really wanted to share. And then I would say for the start of season 4, but by the end of season 3, I was already trying to see how else I can expand, not just being interviews with models, which is great. I enjoy it. But during the pandemic, there were definitely times where I couldn't go out and talk to people. And I didn't want to do it over Zoom calls or over the internet, because I feel like there's something about a connection when you're sitting in a room with a person, and I don't know, you kind of just vibe together, and it could either work or it doesn't. But when it does, I think it's great, and then you build a friendship from there. So then I started thinking about the history of gay erotica and gay porn and stuff, and I've had a couple of books, but then I just started doing more research, and I thought, wouldn't this be fun if I kind of just got a little more in depth of an idea of where everything that we do comes from. I've been doing this for almost 16 years now, and I think it's a shame that for 16 years you could be doing this and not have a background in how you got to here and how you're able to make money off of this career or this path in life. So it's been fascinating. And ever since then, once I started doing that research, and once I started to visualize how these things can be put together, and of course YouTube making it readily available, these video essays, that's basically how we got to where I am with demystifying gay porn now.
And those visuals are incredible too. I mean, you've got some really great footage for that. And I've said this to you privately, but I'll say it publicly as well. I mean, you've got the most amazing voice for storytelling, which, I told you I'm a little obsessed with your voice. So it's,
Thank you.
I encourage everyone to check out all your episodes, because it's, we learn about where we come from, people in the gay community, and how porn has it's always been there, but it's so interesting how these projects come together. And you talk about the producers as much as you talk about the porn stars, you know, and the way that they film those great movies. But you've worked with some big ass studios too. And right now you are currently working at Treasure Island Media as an exclusive director, correct?
Correct. I'm with Treasure Island. Before that, I was with Dark Alley and Raw Fuck Club.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was there when Raw Fuck Club was starting. The idea, the whole story behind how it was going to happen, the whole issue with bareback and porn, and, you know, we're going to get ostracized and all this stuff. And then cut to 5 years later, everybody's doing bareback porn.
Right.
Everybody that had a problem with it, all the studios that had a problem with it, all of a sudden just turned their, what? We didn't say that. But there's,
right.
Yeah, and the best part is I am going to get to the 2010s, and there's so many things out there. The internet doesn't lie, and it's always there. Well, the internet does lie, depending on what you're looking up. But,
right.
But, you know, the internet doesn't forget. Let's say that. That's a better way to put it. But, you know, back to what you were saying real quick about the pornographers and the history of porn. It's you know, the reason why I'm also fascinated with this is there's so much more than just porn, because porn is absolutely used. The word is used, or the term is used in not the best way. It's more gay erotica. If I had known that before, I would have called the podcast Demystifying Gay Erotica, because it's a little more than just a stigmatized word. And the reason why I'm sticking to it, and I continue to stick to it, is because, you know, gay sex is one of the most political things that you can do in life as a gay man, is have sex with another man, because it's so ostracized and still looked at horribly by other people. Like, you are, you know, all you have to do is look at medical books from the 50s to see that there's still something wrong with you, you know, if you grew up like that. So watching all of these stars, you know, porn stars, or before they were porn stars, watching all these people perform in this, and these producers and directors put these movies together at a time when they could have gone to jail, and many of them did for you know, for freedom of speech, let's say, by way of movies. It's incredible, and it's one of the most honest representations of gay people that we have. Outside of when you watch a Hollywood film, up until the 80s and 90s, all they ever did was make fun of gay people. And this is like a document showing how gay people were in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and even to now, even the way we make porn now. But it's just fascinating.
Well, so you just touched on that. What do you think? Well, or because you and I talked about this off camera too. You know, the way porn is made now as compared to back then. It's really, you know, it's DIY for a lot of people, for people like me. You know, content creators who work, who create scenes for a fan site as opposed to, you know, full-on production. You know, even when you came to interview me, you had this pretty big setup to film that. So it's you know, there's a difference in the equipment you use. It can be more, you know, let's just shoot and go. No fancy setups or any kind of that thing. Although I sometimes like to do that. I like to switch it up a bit. But what's been your journey as a director, like seeing this evolve as you're also looking back to what has been done, or what's been, you know, what you revere as classic gay erotica?
Well, the adult entertainment industry and the gay adult entertainment industry is an industry. It's a business at this point. So that would be the biggest thing that's you can't really, it's not, you can't disguise it anymore at this point. Everyone's just doing it to make money. And if you're really good, you'll make a lot of money. And if you're not, you probably won't make that much money. But what they were doing in the 60s and 70s were actually making films because
Right.
it's on film stock, but it had sex in it. It had non-simulated sexual intercourse in it, and they were doing it for profit. Absolutely, like there was a market there. But that's the thing is, it was such a huge market because no one else had done that stuff before. Not a lot of people were doing that. There were loops. And loops were,
right.
It's funny because we've come full circle because now we just make loops. I think production companies and studios that don't have storylines, it's basically just 10 to 15 minutes of people in a room. And if the sexual chemistry isn't there and it's just two bodies banging together and at the end they come. So that's where a lot of the studio went. Even when you look at projects, look, don't get me wrong. There was a whole bunch of, I've watched a lot of gay porn from the 70s so far. And, the acting isn't amazing, but I just think I'm fascinated with the fact that it's on film, the fact that they tried. Yeah. They didn't look alike. You had all of these different directors and producers who were trying to do something different with what they could. And we do see that. We do see that now, but I think it gets bulldozed over by the fact that, hey, I can make a lot of money doing this. And I can't fault anybody for that, because at the end of the day, we have to survive. And I think that's the biggie. The biggest thing is what it is or what it's become, and it's just this juggernaut, and we can't pretend that this is it's a cute little thing, because even if it's two people getting together to shoot porn in one room, what are you going to do after you shoot it? You're going to edit it and you're going to put it up on OnlyFans or Just for Fans or whatever the fan site might be, and you're going to make a profit off of it. And there's, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just, I saw something the other day. I think I was on GRANDE or something like that, and somebody said, somebody had in their profile, like, hey, looking to hook up, blah 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 blah. Not everybody can be a sex worker, and I was like, you know what, he's probably right. So I think we're at that phase now where actually we're probably closer to the end of that phase where people have gotten to the point where you can start your own studio per se, right? Because think about yourself, Coach. You have you have tons of footage, hundreds of videos. You are a production company upon yourself. You wherever you go when you shoot stuff, you basically technically don't really need an OnlyFans or Just for Fans. You can start your own website at that point. You are a production company. Yeah. But every content creator that is this tenacious or is this motivated is a production company. You have to cast. That's the biggest drawback, is that you have to do everything for that money. You have to cast. You have to be on set. You have to edit. You promote all of that stuff. So that's the biggie. One thing I would love to see is production or studios in California and studios in New York, the smaller studios and stuff, kind of collaborate with content creators, not as models that they're utilizing for their scenes, but as producers who have their own company, kind of collaborating together that way. Sorry, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if that answered.
No, that sounds great. No, it's a whole. I mean, it's a new paradigm. I mean, it's changed, and it's changed so many times. It went from film stock to video. From VHS, from beta to VHS to DVD, whatever the platform, whatever way you view, whatever venue you choose to watch this erotica, it's like, okay, now you got me saying it. Now I'm going to say demystifying gay erotica. But it's like, there's so many choices too. I mean, there's a deep level of saturation kind of in every niche, like milking or bareback or, feet or, whatever fetish you can think of. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add to that I think that's great. I think that, that's one thing that this is all opened up, is the idea that you can do it. You can, as long as you persist and as long as you continue to do it, you can do it. Anybody can do it.
Maybe you could call it democratizing gay porn.
Liberating gay porn. Yeah, democratizing gay porn.
So you've worked with a lot of talent. And this is kind of a random question. If you don't want to answer it, it's fine. But
Go for it.
Is there anyone that you've worked with lately or in the past year or so that you see kind of a star quality that is mainly from yesteryear, with a classic gay erotica?
Absolutely. There's definitely...
Champ Robinson.
Sorry about that. Did you hear that?
Movie,
There was a
Peter
call.
North, that sort of thing. Is there?
No, oh, I'm sorry. I got a phone call was coming in, but it's fine. I hung up.
Oh, okay.
Funny thing, I told.
I was like, call him.
No, the funny thing is I told this person I was going to be live, and I don't know why they would call. But anyhow, I have seen a couple of people who are. I've worked with a couple of people who I think are absolutely amazing, and a good amount of that doesn't come from just performance. It comes from knowing. It's like these people watch, right? They don't make it very aware, but when I'm not watching their face, they know exactly where I'm going, where I'm going to move the camera, and they know how to turn their bodies, and they are true performers. There's a couple out there. Star power. There's absolutely a couple of them that are not. That haven't been tapped yet, and it's only a matter of time. And I wish them nothing but luck when it comes to that. So,
yeah.
Did you want me to name some people? Was that what you wanted?
I did, but that's up to you. That's up to you. I didn't mention any non-porn people. So
I will name. I'll name one just because I think he knows how I feel. I can name so many, but I'm absolutely fascinated with Alex Koff right now. He's so cool. Working with him every single time I can, I'm like, hey, let's work on something together. I've called him 45 minutes before a shoot and said, hey, somebody dropped out. He's like, I'll be there in 45 minutes, ready to go. So I met him about a year and a half ago on a set, and ever since then I work with him a lot, and he was on the podcast. He's Ukrainian and he lives in New York City, and if you don't know him already, you will. Like, he's fabulous. He just did a scene with Cocky Boys, and I was watching some of the. I know. Here, my favorite part is too. I'm always like, God, these people are so great. Now they're not going to work with me anymore. but he's one of those guys. Like, there's genuineness to him, and I appreciate that in models. I appreciate that in who you work with. It's no longer, for me, it's no longer the quantity of work or just the ongoing thing. For me, if we don't work well together, and you're amazing, I am sorry, I don't want to be in the same room with you. That's just how it goes at this point.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, there are a couple of Ukrainian guys who are incredible. I don't know if you've ever worked for Serge Shepard, but I think now he mostly does Carnal with Grand Wolf. But he's amazing and terrific and has so much charisma.
Okay, I have not worked with him yet, no.
And one of the scenes I filmed when I was just in New York when I met you, NY Nick, who is also Ukrainian model, just amazing. And I don't know what that says about the Ukraine, but there's some really talented models.
Is what they're saying. Yeah. They're breeding them well.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get me his info if he's in New York. I'd love to.
I will.
I
will, of course. Yeah, he's great. So a lot of New York porn, or New York-based porn filmed in New York. I kind of got my start as smoking coach in Los Angeles when I was living there. And I know the two places can be very different in terms of, what's available to you and, the type of talent that's out there. What is your experience about being really a New York director, New York porn producer? Like, what do you think of as like the New York experience? I know that's an odd question, but I'm curious what you think.
I have an answer to that almost immediately. New York is all about the hustle. I think that California can be too. Anybody can hustle. The thing is in New York, when you work with models, especially when I started, it was the least amount of time that you would have them there. And I think that's where this idea of like documenting sex came from. Even back when I was with Dark Alley, you had your pay rate, and we got into a habit of saying, as long as everything goes well, you can be here for an hour to an hour and a half. Now it's gotten to the point where it's like 45 minutes to an hour from the time you walk in, you get your paperwork done, and, we get an awesome scene, and you walk out and you're paid. So I think that's one of the biggest differences is, it's polished and it's beautiful and it's all this stuff in California, but you're there for like 2 days and you're getting, paid for those 2 days. And those are like film production days. Those are 8 to 10 to 12-hour days. 12-hour days, as opposed to, it's lovely to see you. Let's take our clothes off and get down to it.
Get right to it.
Yeah, here you go. You got paid, and then they leave, and you walk out with the same. Product. It's just it took a little less time, and it's less manufactured and less polished. Yes, for sure. But sometimes people, the market that I work in, they don't want perfectly polished and prim and beautiful. And that's one thing that I want to dip my toes in, actually. I would love to do that stuff. I'm sure I changed my mind after a week, especially if call times are 7 a.m. or, something crazy like that. Once I got into pornography and gay porn and stuff, call times were changed to like 10, 11, those nice early call times when it's
Well, I make my own hours, so it's pretty nice. The problem with being the one-man studio, as you were talking about before, is, and I think this is a problem or maybe a challenge that some creators don't anticipate, is the stamina and the quote-unquote work ethic you need to really sustain something. I've been doing this for a few years, but it's real. And I've seen guys come and go. Yeah. Not just milkers, but guys who've had fan sites, because it's, you've got to be on top of it. Yeah. And as we were talking about, once you create the beast, you have to keep feeding it.
You have to feed it. I think one of the most important things, and I asked you this question during our podcast, is sex work. Doing any kind of production work, all of that stuff is body work. You put your body into it. And if you're not taking care of your body, you're not going to be able to do this for a long time. Kind of like body workers, they have a lifespan of, I think it's like 10 years or something like that. And where, you have people who are massage therapists and stuff, they get work done on themselves because of the toll that you put on your body without even realizing it. So, that's one thing that I would tell people. I do an hour and a half of yoga in the morning, every morning.
Oh, nice.
And I run a mile every day. And that's how.
Wow.
You know why, though? Because when I'm on set and these guys are giving it their all, I try my best to not get in the way, but also get the best shot. And when I do that, there's definitely times where I'm like, I don't know how I'm in this position, but here we go. They're sweating and I'm sweating for a completely different reason.
So we just got a question from Ignashka about trans porn. Have you shot any trans porn?
Sure. Yeah. I'm not going to lie, but I pride myself on the fact that in 2018, Seth Knight said, I know this FTM model that wants to do a scene. Do you think that you would get it? And I was like, absolutely. Let's do it. Sid St. Vincent and Seth Knight. It's a movie. It's on the RFC website, but it's called Fucking Famous. And yeah, I'm not. I can't say this for a fact, but I think it might be the first FTM scene in a studio like, I don't even know what to call a studio like Raw Fuck Club or Treasure Island, but in one of those bigger websites, it was one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it
That's
was
so
fun.
cool.
And then I did one with
I thought
Ari Coyote, and I'd love to do more.
that's what I was going to say. So I did one scene that was with Ari Coyote
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I want to do more. Yeah, it was very hot. And I was like, can I still, because I did date women back in the day. And I was like, do I still know my way around a pussy? And actually I do.
It's like muscle memory. You get it.
Yeah. Very much, right.
You pick it right back up.
So, so I just got a comment from Giant and Tiny Feet.
I love him.
Love doing an episode of IQ Grande's podcast. Plus, who doesn't swoon with that voice? Yes, completely agree. Giant and Tiny Feet, completely agree.
Thank you.
That voice. The voice is. Yeah,
you're making me blush. If I can blush, I'm like so tan.
I just adore that voice so much.
So Giant and Tiny Productions, Giant and GTF Productions. You should check that out. It's this. Are you familiar with macro?
I'm not.
Okay, so macro is a fetish. It's a size fetish, and it's predominantly giant men or giant women. In this case, it's giant men, and he does some great work with green screen and making these beautiful men, like certain sizes, like much bigger than these tiny men who just happen to be in a situation where they got smaller. Really, really cool stuff. You got to check it out.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Just followed them. So yeah, look forward to that. That's awesome. Yes, but couldn't agree more about the voice. Got one question. What was the line you always said from Sailor in the Wild? The lines that we always traded back and forth were from the big seduction scene with the sailor that comes in kind of a third in the movie. He's giving him a massage and he's like, oh, let me get this fly off. They just talk through whatever they see or do, which I love. Like, oh, I'm going to have another sip of this beer. Hey, now I feel better. That kind of thing. That's why I love the William Higgins stuff. Yes, if anybody has questions, please raise your hand and we will elevate you to speaker. But while we're waiting for that, I wanted to get a sense from you, like what do you want to see? I guess what would you like to see with gay erotica in the future tense, and also what do you see yourself doing?
I have this project I've been working on for such a long time. I have a couple of like art porn projects that I want to work on, with stories, but not like too intense. It's not nothing crazy, but the main focus of it would still be sex, non-simulated sex in the story, because I'd have to have funders or investors, and I'm going to have to pitch it as, hey, it's a porn film, but a little more artistic. So I have a couple of those that I want to do, but I have this website that I've been wanting to start for the longest time. And it's not necessarily anything that I've done before, and I want to do it. And I know I'm being vague and cryptic as hell, but I have to be at this point. So I definitely want to do something like that. What I would like to see in gay erotica and gay porn.
If you could design that industry the way, or move the industry in the way you want.
I was going to say possibly more European, but I'm thinking more of European art cinema. When I spoke to Davey Wavy about what he does with Himeros, I did mention to him that, a lot of the stuff that he does looks like European art cinema, and that
absolutely.
And it basically just means that they don't care about having real sex in a movie. They're not hung up on it like the Hollywood system is, the system here. So I think if we got that way, I mean, granted, who knows? We might all be in jail.
Dear God. Oh, Lord.
Can you imagine that party though in jail? Like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, it'd be fun in jail, but right? Oh God, no, man.
But we'll just tough. We'll just see what happens. I know it's the like the worst case scenario, but still, like that's always you don't fool around with stuff like that.
No, and even if something happens, the unthinkable happens, and they try to ban, or it's always going to be there. We'll find a way,
absolutely,
to find it and to film it. Yeah,
I was at DVDs are still a thing. People still buy DVDs because
that's right. You were telling me that, like, Tim still is very successful with their hard media, their physical media. Yeah,
there are people in the Midwest predominantly and in the South and all that stuff that don't want any kind of electronic paper trail, and they buy their porn via mail, USPS and UPS and all that fun stuff. So it's still a thing. And I remember I actually went out one of the last times I was in California. I went out and I spoke to one of the bigger ones, people that are producing or are kind of manufacturing DVDs for all the studios now. It's this one that kind of gobbled up all of the smaller DVDs places that went out of business, and they basically have the majority of all the studios, and they all go to this company. And the guy that's in charge of doing the artwork and all that stuff and giving you mock-ups and stuff before it goes to print was like, whenever there's a Republican in office, our DVD sales skyrocket because isn't that crazy? So
really
I know. Don't let me find out that Donald Trump is good for the porn business.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. We live in a crazy world.
We do. That's an understatement. Yeah. We do, for sure. So, guys, if you have any questions or anything to add to the discussion, please raise your hand. We will promote you to speaker. Anything at all about gay porn, the state of porn? Any questions?
Personal questions?
Et cetera?
Yeah, why not? I'll take them all. Let's do it.
Oh, so I do have to ask you about your love for Kylie. I saw that in your last live Q&A on YouTube, someone was asking you about Kylie, and I found out you're a fan. You're a big fan of Kylie.
Huge fan, yeah.
So I did see the show in Vegas, which was incredible. She was literally 10 feet away from me at one point, which was amazing. But yeah, it was, I adore her.
Can I just tell you, I met Kylie Minogue 2 years ago at the most random, obscure wine store in Wayne, New Jersey, because she was promoting, it was between her disco album and this one, the Padam Padam album. Tension, yes. And she was promoting her rosé. And it was like this, I think it was the day before the New York City one. So it was like the rehearsal, let's say, right? But a good amount, 50 fans showed up. We queued, and I got to talk to her, and it was really, really cool. She's awesome. She's really, really cool, and she's all but 4'9", 4'11" or something like that.
Yeah, teeny.
But she was very, very nice.
When I was working at the Oscars, we got a big kind of clue that she would be downtown shooting a video. And the Oscars had a building, or still has a building, their archives are downtown. And I was able to wrangle my way to that building to work that day. And lo and behold, she was shooting All the Lovers.
Oh, that's
in downtown video. LA. Jeez. Yeah, so we got to see some of that, and it was freezing. It was really super cold. So it was wild to see all these guys in their underwear.
How many bodies did they actually have on set?
There were a ton. There were a ton of extras.
Okay.
I mean, not as many in that huge pile that was,
that was
CG or whatever.
That was like the plot of a gay porn movie.
No, but they did have those big balloons. We didn't see the horse, but we saw, Kylie and Joseph Kahn, who's the director of that video, who I actually think is a really cool guy. But yeah, it was really fun to watch that. Okay, so I've got. Okay, Milkman wanted to ask a question, but he's on the Metro. You can type your question milkman in DC, and then we will I'll ask it. And then IQ, come to Australia, damn it, and bring those toes. And Alex, I guess that's giant tiny feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he have sexy toes, giant tiny feet? I didn't get a chance to see him.
I shoot barefoot, but I don't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, yeah, no, I want to take my.
You gotta be comfortable.
Yeah, I have to be as comfortable as possible. If I'm going to stand on a bed with shoes and you're having sex on it, I think that's it's not appropriate. Like I'm walking all over New York City. I can't put my feet all over that. It's like disrespectful in my opinion.
Ignashka is following up trans porn with, are you taking auditions for trans actors?
Send some pictures. And I mean that in the most respectful way possible, but that's still the way people cast. No, if you are, tell us what area you're in, and you can either do it formally through the Treasure Island website, or if you want, informally via email, or no text messages though. It's really, really hard to keep explaining why people are sending me naked pictures while I'm sitting there on a weeknight watching a movie with my boyfriend. I'm like, all right, come on, guys. And no calls or text messages between 1 and 7 in the morning. That's just a sure way of not having me work with you again.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Unless it's an emergency,
Mr. Beef asks, do you ever shoot in the nude? No, because it's not about me. It's about it's about the guys. And again, this is as much as everybody likes to think. I would always get asked when I told them that we work in a porn office. Oh, does everybody walk around naked? No, we're still we still we still have to walk in and out the door and do stuff and get lunch. And granted, I know you can throw your clothes back on for that, but it's just not how it happens. And why would I get naked in front of these beautiful men and just, be like, I don't know. I think I'd be more distracting than anything. And that's not. Well, I mean, you asked me if yes, I want to get milk, and that's the same thing. It's the same thing. And you gave me I'm a workhorse, not a show horse. And that's correct. It's like, you have to focus. You gotta make this. You're creating this. So you got to stay professional, and you got to, stay professional.
I would say in a matter of 16 to 17 years, 2007, so that's 15, 16 years, I've probably gotten aroused on set close to 8 to 10 times at this point. And that's only because, I'm a human being. I'm a man, I'm full-blooded, I'm a red-blooded man. But a lot of the times though, you're just looking at it from a technical point of view. You're not really looking at it. I'm not watching this to get off. I'm watching this to make it so that I know how to get you off.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Thank you.
That is correct, sir.
And somebody had. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a question?
Oh, no. Go ahead.
But I was just going to add that somebody had asked why I say, if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off. I think that the amount of stuff that I've done that you probably have no idea I was behind is so vast that you absolutely have to have come across something, even if it was for the last 3 minutes. You know how sometimes you watch 5 to 15 different scenes, and that one scene at the end is not the one that you wanted to, but you're like, oh, I can't hold it in anymore. That's probably one of mine. So that's basically why I said that. No matter what, I've always been behind the scenes, but there's definitely something out there that if I didn't shoot myself, I definitely helped produce it or put it together or anything like that. So when I say that, I really did think about that for a second. It wasn't like I'm like, oh, I'm so good. It was more, I thought about this, and the chances that you've probably watched something that I've done are not slim to none, let's say.
Okay, so it looks like people are in transit, so they can't vocalize these, but I've got a question. Are you just working with Treasure Island Media, or do you work with any other studios? And do you shoot stuff for your own fan site? I think I know the answer, but would let you speak on that.
I don't have a fan site. Although he was, last time I spoke to him, he's like, you know what I see you doing? And I'm like, what? And he's like, I can see you directing people on a fan site and, telling them what to do on camera. And I think that's, yeah. And that sounds like a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work on top of a full-time job. So, I think I'll stay with the full-time job and the podcast, because that's the side hustle, the side love that I enjoy doing. Treasure Island is the main studio. I'm not supposed to pick up a camera for any other studio. I have advised other studios, but not necessarily picked up a camera for them.
Okay. Mr. Beef. Mr. Beef asks, any tips for someone directing their own solo video?
2-camera setup. And by that, if it's if you have 2 phones, use 2 phones. Get one that's further away and get one that's close up. So that way people feel like they're in the scene. I think that it's nice. There's a certain nicety with, remember how Xtube started and all that, where you can tell that it was just a homemade video camera. And somebody just put it up somewhere, and then they just did their thing. With a 2-cam setup like this, you can get both of those. You can get the close-up, and if you edit or learn to edit, it's not really that much of a hard cut. If you're doing 2-cam setup, one of the best things that I can recommend is right before or right after you turn on both cameras, you clap. So that way, it's the easiest way for you to sync your audio. After that, everything else is cake. Except the cum shot. Make sure you come.
Yes. Very good. And decent lighting. Good lighting.
Yeah. You have to have, at this point, you can't have bad lighting. In 2024, you can't. You just can't do it.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions? Again, you can type your question if you cannot speak because of where you are at the moment, but you can definitely type them.
I apologize for people being in transit. It's definitely my fault. I happy hour on a Friday.
I didn't think about that at all. And,
it's my apologies. It just happened to fall at the perfect time for me. I had a busy day editing this group scene that I shot a couple of weeks ago that I have to deliver, and
how many were in the group?
10
Give
people.
us a little preview. 10.
Yeah, it was about 10 people, but it was a good scene. It was 10 personalities. It's 10. I commend people that do large scenes because of the fact, like, you have to have a wrangler for everybody. I was fortunate that Champ was in town shooting some scenes, and I didn't realize that I would need a second camera. And I was like, Champ, you gotta come help me. And he was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. For
everybody, that's Champ Robinson.
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
Noted porn legend.
Owner of Vision X, which I absolutely love. He's doing some good stuff, and I say that because he followed me around for about 4 years while I was at Raw Fuck Club. Learning how to shoot, and he did it for free, and he just wanted to come and kind of figure it out.
That's dedication. 4 years. Wow. Do you have any other proteges that you work with or that you advise? Are you someone who gives out stage advice to? Well, you said you consult with some people. Are you the a go-to for people who want to learn more about the biz or what they need to do or how to film, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
Is that something you enjoy?
I enjoy doing it. But I'm at this point, I feel like I could be blunt, as blunt as possible, and kind of like when it comes to casting and stuff. Hey, I really want to do this. Well, then do it. Like, there's no, you can do it. You can take a picture of yourself and send it out, or you can turn the camera on and just see how, when it comes to techniques and film stuff, those are technical questions, very different questions, but still, like, I'm more than open to that. Erection, who shoots for Champ Robinson, it's funny because he's like, oh, I took my name and I made it this and it's a homage to you, and I was like, I would have told you not to do that, because so my name is Ike Grande, which in Spanish means, oh, that's big. And I had never meant it to be spoken. It was supposed to be just, a gag that was on DVD covers and on all that stuff. I never thought I'd have to be saying it out loud. And I never thought that other people would have to be saying it, to the point where some people say IQ Grande. And I'm like, wow, that's a bit boastful, don't you think? Like, people think I have a big IQ or something, or I think
that's what I thought. Yeah.
No, I would never do something like that.
No, I thought it was ironic, but but I do think you have a big IQ. You're smart as fuck.
Well, I appreciate that, but it was absolutely, it was just a take on in Spanish, like, oh, that's big.
Yeah.
And that's where it came up. But no, yeah, I love people that get in, and if they want to ask questions, I'm not Hollywood. I'm not a lot of things, but what I do know is I've been around the block a couple times, and I can absolutely help.
Well, I'm going to pick your brain when you come down south and visit, because you already did give me some great advice, so I appreciate that.
No problem. Are you a cocktail drinker, or do you imbibe in
am.
anything? Okay, good. So then
I do.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The best time to do that is after the second drink. We're just sitting there and everything's just loose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fun. Do you mind if I ask you your drink of choice? Unless we have a question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, we do have a couple, but I am a wino. I've been a wino for a while.
I love it.
I'm getting into whiskey. I was never a whiskey drinker, but I went to Vegas recently, where I shot Brian Bond, or with Brian Bond, and I went to a speakeasy, and they have it the Continental, right? Yeah. And I had my first smoked whiskey drink, which was pretty darn amazing.
Yeah,
I have to say.
I'm a sucker for a beautiful location and well-crafted cocktails. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, we have to go to a good location, not just any bar.
Okay.
So that'll be my job.
Yeah,
I'll find the place.
Okay.
And then we'll have maybe a nice rooftop place.
I love it.
Okay, next question from Milkman in D.C., a pal of mine. Great milker, by the way. Love the history series you do. Any plans to expand on that, maybe into the 90s or 2000s, or focused on specific porn video stores, or maybe Where Are They Now type of episodes? Which you've done a couple of Where Are They Now, right? I think I've seen a couple. Am I wrong?
It's a part of the 70s at the moment, but yes, I'm next. Okay. And season 5 is 1980s, and then I'm going to get into the 90s.
Oh, fabulous!
Yeah.
Oh, fabulous!
Oh God, I'm working on something now that's a little more elaborate when it comes to how it's going to be shot, and it's going to be called post porn, and it's going to be guys who are still like they're guys from the 70s and 80s that are still around, and they're just they're doing their own thing outside of porn. So I've hit up a couple of them, and it'd be fascinating to see what their lives are like outside of porn. They did something like this for the straight porn industry. It's called After Porn Ends, I think. And I
remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and I watched it, and I thought it was fascinating, but we don't have anything like that, so I would love to do that. Politics of sexuality, that I want to do with more of a... I wanted to kind of feature all the laws and all the stuff that... And these are shorter, they're a little meatier, but they're shorter, but it's basically all the laws that make... pornography, erotica, and everything that we do legal in this country, so that way you kind of know what and where it came from. A lot of cases that were decided that were beneficial for the sex industry, that sex crimes, there's a lot of different ways I want to go with it, and yeah, if you see my notes section, it's split up between porn lore and a whole bunch of stuff. I could be doing this for years.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Good. I can listen to that voice more.
As long as you keep listening, as long as you keep watching, I'll keep doing it.
Excellent. So Giant Tiny Feet again. How frustrated are you when you see a porno made in bad lighting, no microphone, tiny room, and low frame rate?
I guess it depends. If it's really hot, you can't deny if it's hot. Like if it's really, really, it's done well and it's a low lighting, you can forgive it. I mean, if it was a celebrity and you're like, oh my God, I've never seen this person kind of naked, but I can with the lighting and stuff.
Yeah.
I think remember the Colin Farrell sex tape wasn't really shot on great camera.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But you were kind of like, oh wow, it's Colin Farrell. So, I mean, it is frustrating, but at the same time, you don't know if it's really, really hot. I mean, we have to remember that the early digital videos that came out in the 2000s looked like that. Not to say that they were bad lighting, but the amateur ones were pretty bad. So I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people are emulating that these days.
Okay, we got a request from Big Cock. Big Cock, you are on, and you can ask your question or comment. Your microphone is muted. Can you unmute?
Come on, Big Cock. I want to hear your voice.
Big Cock? Oh, I think he left.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
I really want to hear
that. Was a
voice.
tease. I wanted to hear a Big Cock talk.
That was a Big Cock tease, wasn't it?
Been there, done that. No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, I'm fascinated by it. This is my first space, my first space interview or my first space chat. So I'd love to see how this works. I'd love to see or hear somebody's voice come through.
Yeah, guys. Oh, okay. Whoops. We got a request and he left. So, guys, if you're using your iPhone or phone, that's probably the best way to talk. But I think you can also do it on desktop. Just raise that hand, and I will make you a speaker. Big Cock, you want to talk? I see you're back.
He's back.
So you're on season 4 of Demystifying Gay Porn. When does that end, and when does season 5 begin? What's your schedule like for the pod right now?
So I have about 4 or 5 more videos. Right now, I'm just finishing editing the writing for the next episode, which is Shan Sales, who was very, very important to the gay porn or the gay erotic cinema movement in the late 60s, early 70s. He owned a lot of theaters in San Francisco, in California, and then eventually moved out to New York with a couple of theaters. But he was the porno king of the West. And him and the last episode before your episode was Monroe Beeler. And those two guys were I'm not sure. Monroe Beeler, apparently he wasn't gay. He was gay, all that stuff. Not a lot of stuff can be found about these guys. But I read an article how interesting, because these guys were not only responsible for the gay erotic movie movement, they were responsible for a lot of erotic cinema in general. So 2 gay guys made the porn industry happen theater-wise in the 60s. And I thought that was fascinating, because they were managers of theater chains, and they were like, you know what? Let's start showing these films. and there'll be an audience for it. And they made a profit. They made a killing. There's no, you can't deny that. But yeah, there's a couple more awesome directors. The season finale is going to be with Toby Ross, who directed Do Me Evil and a whole bunch of other movies. And I actually got in touch with him, and I was able to record an interview with him. And we were going to do another one for the season finale. However, I think, there's a lot of turmoil going on. He lives in Israel, so I can reach out to him again just to see, but I have a good hour-long interview that I'm going to intersplice into the last episode. But yeah, the next one's Shan Sales, Song of the Loon, and Roger, the porn star from the 70s, who tragically passed away in a car accident very similar to Dick Fisk.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
he's a favorite of mine.
Dick Fisk?
Dick Fisk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love the stash. I love a good porn stash.
Yeah, he's from Georgia, too. He was from Georgia.
What?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. So we got another question, but I have a question for you because I meant to ask this earlier.
Sure.
You do a ton of research. So what can you give me like how long does it take you from your decision to do, you pick a topic, you pick a person, or you pick a movie. Mm-hmm. How long does that take from that decision to, final edit? Like how long does that take with all of the research, all of the recording, and you use footage as well? So yeah, how long does that take you? I'm really curious.
The ones recently have taken a little longer because it's become increasingly difficult to find information about certain people. A lot of these people never wanted to be found and have stayed that way, and awesome. But some of them have written books or had books written about them, and that's always great because then you have something to work off of. Jerry Douglas was a director from the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. He was a historian, and he would also interview models and producers and directors for his magazine. And I have a compilation of all of his interviews, and that's very, very helpful. And I think there's a lot of different factors that go into it. Sometimes I'm like so into the project, so into the person, and I'm like, this is fascinating. I want to share this almost immediately. And you forget the time, you forget everything else that you're doing, and you just kind of just focus on it. Sometimes you get people, and I had this unfortunately with Peter Berlin. I didn't want to do it, and it took forever. I was dragging my feet because I didn't find him fascinating at all, and that's unfortunate. But then eventually, after reading and watching a little more of his stuff and hearing him talk, because I did reach out to him and he didn't reach out back, but after hearing him talk in a documentary that was made about him, I kind of understood where he's coming from. But for me, any kind of vapid, any kind of just, I just want people to look at me is never attractive. So that's basically why I knew he was alive and I wanted to talk to him, and I knew there was something else under it, but I just couldn't I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then eventually I did it, and I got past that, and then you move on to the next guy. I basically have an outline of how or where I'm going to go with the project. And I could be jumping around in the 70s, 80s, and 90s and stuff, but I think it would get a little too confusing, especially for myself. I kind of need to compartmentalize all of that stuff and then move on to the next thing. Trust, the 80s is already outlined. Like, I already know every single person that I'm going to feature and all that stuff. Wow. But yeah, no, after the season, after a little bit of the season, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of shorts on a couple of people that I missed out on, or people that didn't have enough information to make a complete short episode on. So it'd be a shorter short.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you've already touched on this a little bit, but we got a question. What's a topic you haven't done yet that you desperately want to touch on?
A topic on the podcast?
That you that you desperately want to touch on.
How the pharmaceutical industry is basically tied into the porn industry, depending on what you use to get up, if you know what I mean. Yeah, that, and there is a podcast episode that I did in season 3 with Adam Smith, and he is the author of a book about poppers that's fascinating. And that's another thing. Amyl nitrate started out as a heart attack drug, or a drug to treat a heart condition, and then it became, you know, a popular going out drug, or substance, let's say, not necessarily a drug, but you know, that's all this stuff. There's a history of Pfizer and you know, Falcon, let's say, or something like that. You know, I don't want to, but it's out there. It's been there. Every shoot you go on, you're like, hey, what do you need?
Damn. Nice. That's awesome. Okay, we're actually a little over an hour. Wow, that went that fast.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I love this stuff though. I could be doing this for.
Sorry, we got one more. Sorry,
yeah, go for it.
King, hold on. I'm adding you as a speaker. King, if you have a question or comment, let us know. You are now a speaker. Hello, King? Hello?
I see you.
Your mic is muted. We see you, King.
Yeah.
We know you have a burning question.
Unmute that mic, King.
Great hat, by the way, King.
Yeah.
No?
No,
Okay.
I so desperately want to hear somebody's voice. I'm so curious. I'm so curious.
I know they're all typing their questions, which is great. We know that if you can't chat right now, you can't ask the question. We understand that.
If you're at your grandmother's house or your mother, you know, just
grandmother's house.
relatives, you know. Or
Okay, Avatar, you are added as speaker.
hello.
You actually shall receive.
Oh, how are you, Avatar?
I'm good, baby. How are you? Long time.
Long time. You look fabulous, and you're doing absolutely amazing work. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, babe. You know, I gotta keep up with these young kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know,
they're all young.
All young. Like, literally, these goddamn children are coming out the womb with fucking huge ass dicks and able to take acid and hanging for the banisters and shit. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, we didn't used to do that. We used to just walk into a room, say, drop your hands, bend over, and call it quits.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, go home. So,
but it's lovely to see you guys on here.
Yeah, what's been going on? How where in the world is Avatar?
We are in Houston, actually. I literally just got off a plane, waiting to get a car. I'm doing a fundraiser thing for a friend, Jockstrap fundraiser.
Very nice.
So that's cute. And then I fly back this weekend, and then next weekend I'm doing Dory Alley in San Francisco for the first time.
Ooh.
So that's pretty fun.
Very cool.
That's fun. Since I heard it's like Folsom. Well, it's what Folsom used to be, you know, without the spectacle and the circus of the heteros. You know, love the heteros, but, you know, not everything is meant for them to come there and gawk at us. And I went last year, which was really nice. It's just too many phones, too many cameras. And I'm not saying that I'm not proud of who I am, but I don't need my dick everywhere, you know, without my permission.
Yeah.
So I heard Dory is a little bit more inclusive, a little bit more for our community, a little bit more queer, and it's a little bit more for locals, and that's more my thing.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see how that is next week. So I'm super excited about that.
Oh, we're cool. When are you in New York again?
I'll be back Sunday for the week till I leave Friday.
Okay.
Next week. The following week. I'm there Sunday to Friday. And I heard this young man, Mr. Demon down there, is passing through next month. I better see him.
Yeah.
He knows what I'm talking about. He knows what that is.
We should absolutely touch base. I would love to see you. It's been way too long.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Actually, since I'm off for like 2 fucking weeks, mine as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That would be great.
But Coach, what is going on with you guys? This is the first time I've ever seen like other people of my what do they call that space community. So what league what you guys doing this one? Or just asking questions?
Well, we did. IQ had me on his podcast, Demystifying Gay Porn, and we had such a fun discussion before and after the interview. I wanted to kind of turn the tables on him and talk about his career and about what he does. And kind of this is demystifying IQ Grande.
I see it now. Now I understand the header.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we do this all the time in space. It's like damn near every day. We're always talking about people and what are they doing? Jordy Massive.
Yeah.
Jordy Massive. Who else? And a whole bunch of regular folks. We do this all the time. But this is cute because I was like, wait, why do I see like 5 spaces going on at the same time? And I was like, let me hop in here because I didn't see Mr. Grande in about 12 years. Even though I watched his little TikTok. And I'd be like, I remember when me and Maxine Connor was the first, and they didn't have none of this technology. Oof. And now all the new kids are on there, and I'm like,
yeah. Oh boy. Yes.
But I wanted to hop in and say hi.
Well,
my car is coming. It's good to hear your voices.
Likewise.
You kids.
Thank you for chatting.
Yes, anytime. I probably would, if you guys are on later, I'll pop on in. But,
okay.
But let me be a civil woman and get in this luxury vehicle.
Have fun and be safe.
All right, babes. I will. Talk to you guys later.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh, Avatar. He was on season 2.
I got to go back and watch that.
I'm updating a lot of them because the audio equipment that I had at the time didn't have an enhancer, so I have started to go back and kind of update a good amount of the episodes, and it's insane how it equalizes everything. And because audio is not my first love, video, but audio and video absolutely go together. And once you were talking about equipment before. I have a closet full of equipment that I don't even use anymore because I've upgraded so many times. And one of the things that I will say about the podcast is with models, and remember how you basically look like you're landing a plane when you're talking to me because you have the headset on and all that. That's because models keep moving away. They don't really like to talk right in front of the microphone sometimes, and it makes for unbalanced audio. So I was like, you know what? Let's just put this on.
No, that's great. That's awesome. I actually need to start using microphones because I'm in a bigger space now, and I haven't soundproofed the room yet. I just haven't had time to do that. So you can hear a little bit more of an echo, and I need to do more with mics
I'll send you some links to some of the stuff that I use. It's like
perfect.
Yeah, really, really cool stuff, and it absolutely helps just having them. And you have a camera you have a moving camera and you have a stable camera, right?
Yep.
So you can place this very close to you without even having to see it in the frame.
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. I tried this little tiny lavalier in one of my cuffs, because I wear those 2 handcuffs, but it was like,
you move around too much.
And you could hear the neoprene, rubbing up against it. So I was like, oh yeah, Bolt. It's really, your cock is. So it didn't work as well, but I tried. It was a valiant attempt that just failed. But anyway, we are at almost 6:15. I know I've taken up a lot of your time already.
Don't worry about it.
But we should do this again.
Yeah,
we should
absolutely.
We should do. I love this. I love audio because I can look like, just a tired old asshole without, the black on and just be like total casual coach. And not be camera ready. That's why I love this. I love spaces for that. But
it's funny because you said I was like, "What are we going to do?" And do I have to put up a lighting setup and all that stuff?
No. Yeah, just grab a drink, get comfortable.
Yeah. I see.
So, yeah.
I didn't grab a drink today because I still have to do my. I run a mile every night, so it's not easy to run a mile when you're when you've had a
put
couple
people
cocktails.
to shame.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a matter. It's upkeep. It's not like I'm not in the peak shape of my life at the moment. But it's summer. You have hot dogs and you have buns and you have hamburgers and all that stuff, and you keep it to a minimum. But at the same time, you kind of have to maintain.
Yeah, well, and I do also have a love for beer, so it's like,
I haven't had a beer in such a long time. That's why I've been drinking. I've been keeping it low carb, low sugar. Not necessarily keto.
I need to.
I did that, but it just it makes me feel better. It makes me feel a little more alert. But the alcohol that I can drink is basically at this point wherever I go, I order a gin or a vodka martini, and I'm telling them straight up with no vermouth, and it's basically just chilled alcohol. Like that does help though with makes me a cheap date because I only have like one or two. You can't really drink them that quick.
Yeah, nurse on them for a bit. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm looking forward to
well,
that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this.
No
we are recording it, so this will be available for people to listen to later.
Very cool.
And let's do it again because
absolutely, I would love to.
It's just so much fun, and we'll get a special guest to maybe do our own kind of tag team.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Thing. That'd be kind of fun.
Oh,
yeah.
Real quick before we go, I just really, I got hit up again by, let me see if I can find it. He is Tantric Release, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's in Colorado. I'm not sure. I can tell you afterwards, but he heard your podcast and he was like, awesome. And I'd spoken to him. I spoke to you and I spoke to him about the possibility of doing a podcast together. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work, but he's great. He's another one. He's awesome. He enjoyed the podcast.
I know Tantric Fitness will Tantra very well, but I don't know Tantric Release. So I'll.
It might be Tantric Fitness. I'm not lying to you. I was trying to get out of into my messages, but I didn't want to exit out of here by accident. I didn't want to be that person.
Yeah, if it's Will Tantra, if it's Tantric Fitness, definitely. Okay. He's amazing, and he worked for Cult way back in the day. Okay. So he's got a porn background, but he's amazing. We've shot 4 scenes together. Now you know what? That would be an interesting threesome too. Yeah. Even if you do a podcast with him, he's interesting because he does how-to videos. Masturbate better, that kind of thing. Along with his sex videos, he's also worked for Himrose. He's amazing. So I would love to hear that episode. He's terrific.
Is there a Stephen something requested, or I was going to come on and kind of say, bye to all these guys.
Stephen, we can add you real quick if you have a question. You're muted, Stephen. Your mic's muted.
Come on, Steve.
You there? Looks like we got another one too. Levi. Let's try him. Levi, hold on. You're connected. And you're muted.
Turn that.
You just need to unmute your mic. There you go.
Hey.
Levi.
How are you?
Hey. Good. How are you?
Thank you.
Who's this, Levi?
Nope. No. Any questions? Comments? No? That was a sexy high though.
Yeah, it was very.
Anyway, thank you for doing this, and we'll do it again soon.
Absolutely. Let's touch base.
Thank you, man.
Is that okay? Wait, is that Stephen?
Yes.
Stephen.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this is my first time doing this, and I'm a bit nervous.
Don't be nervous.
So I have a really weird question. It's a niche question. I'm a man who is 64 years old. and when you age into being a senior, for me at least, much of my sex life has become enjoying porn and masturbating, frankly. And I am searching for some indication of other men my age who are interested in that. And you can go to a bait club, you can watch some of the Himeros videos, and you can find a bit of that on Bait World. But I'm wondering if ever someone would make one porn video, which would be in shape men in their 60s and maybe in their 70s, not necessarily engaged in, vigorous penetrative sex, but in some kind of alternative kind of sexual enjoyment.
Yeah.
Do you want to take? I have a suggestion, real quick, because you did mention Bait World. That's my other gig. In addition to Milking Coach, I am the content director for baitworld.com.
Ooh, okay.
So we have some long form programming on that. We have two series: the Baiter Training Series and the Bait Off, which I produced both of. Those are, one's a competition series, like a masturbation competition series, and another one is about the different ways that people masturbate. And we have men of all ages on that one, including Will Tantra, who I was just talking about from Tantric Fitness. And we have, because I myself am a solosexual, in addition to being a milker. So that's my preferred sexual release is masturbation. So I understand that. But yeah, there's some really good content creators, who are a little older, who are, really knowledgeable about this and really showcase themselves. So yeah.
I actually, just to interject, I had wanted to do something similar to that, and
Coach, I love you.
Yeah, toyed around with calling it.
Thank you.
Golden gaze, but I thought it might be a little too campy. I don't know, but yeah, no, that's a niche I would like to work on as well. One of the things that I did find, and it's no shade, no judgment or anything. One of the things that I did find was it was a little harder for performances when it came to certain people, but that may have been because a lot of the people that are in the industry are, they kind of wear themselves out with the amount of shoots and stuff. So I would pursue something like that if it was amateur or guys, that have not done that before, but, could probably warm up to it, the idea of it, or if they were exhibitionists, not necessarily sex workers who wanted to shoot. That would be fun, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I follow Stephen. If you follow me on Twitter, I follow quite a few mature, very attractive mature men who only do solo content. So I can send you some names if you're looking for some solo content to watch. Just send me a DM, and I'll send you some links.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for
thank you for your question and for speaking. Did we lose Levi?
All right. I think Levi's still here. He's just muted.
Okay.
There he goes.
All right.
Yeah.
You are man, coach. You are big man.
Big man?
That's a fan.
Yes, great.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
That is a true fan.
Thank you.
That's always fun.
Okay. Well, again, thank you so much. And let's do it again, and we will chat soon.
Thank you. And yes, let's we'll touch base a little later, and yeah, I'd be down with doing this. It'd be fun.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank
talk
you,
to
sir.
later. Enjoy your weekend,
All right.
guys. Thank you so much
Appreciate
for
it.
listening. And yeah, everybody have a safe and fun weekend.